As we know, the pandemics and in particular the lockdowns restricted the freedom of movement for citizens and workers, and also the use of public transportation. This affected co-working spaces and co-workers' life in different ways. First of all, co-working spaces in the city center became less attractive. In the past, in the pre-pandemic era, the co-working spaces in the city centers used to be the most attractive spaces. Starting from the pandemics and also nowadays, the co-working spaces in peripheral areas are now more attractive for workers. Second, it changed the people using, the users of co-working spaces. In the past, they used to be just freelancer or start-uppers. Nowadays, a lot of employees, they are starting at least using co-working spaces, sometimes supported by their companies. Third, and I think it's the most interesting change, co-working spaces are changing the way they perceive themselves. In the past, co-working spaces used to be important and relevant for relationship inside the co-working space. It was all about building new relationship inside the co-working or through networks, also outside the co-working spaces, but with ties not related to the space or to the location where the co-working space is embedded. Starting from the pandemic, we can see a new kind of co-working space. We can call it proximity co-working space. And the co-working manager and the co-working promoters build intentional relationship with other institutions, organizations and associations in the same territory where the co-working space is located. It is really affecting and changing the way the co-working act, their objectives, and also their role in their territory. Nowadays, we can consider this kind of proximity co-working space as a local collective competition goods. Having a co-working space in your territory, it's something that affect the competitivity of the socio-economic network, embedded and radicated network of companies, but also non-profit association and institution. So we are analyzing this transformation, we are analyzing them both in the city, in the cities and in the peripheral area of the cities and in the inner areas, in particularly in the south of Italy, where we can see the emergence of interesting new models of proximity co-working spaces. It's important to think about how the regulation and the policies can support this kind of initiatives, because if in the past co-working spaces could be seen as labor policies, nowadays they are also local development policies. And so also the kind of support that the government or the local actor can provide change, and it's really stimulating, and we as a researcher we will analyze what's going on and will happen in the next month and years.